Cunningham. And I don't see Kathy on here yet. We also have with us Kelly. And Becky's here, right, Becky?
Yeah, I just had to unmute myself. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have the roll call completed. Approval of minutes from May 11th, 2020. Everybody read through all those minutes? Get a chance to read through if you wouldn't mind. Any discussion items on there?
Kevin, just a technicality question. I'm going to abstain because I wasn't at the last meeting, and I know Christy wasn't, again, according to the minutes too. So,
Understood.
Then with Kathy not here, that just leaves you and Art. Is that still sufficient as far as
Well,
pressing?
the appropriate way to do this would be to table this item until the next meeting.
Okay.
Motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table this item until the next meeting.
I second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item D, public comment. Hearing none, we can go into item E, new business, consider an act on retirement request from town employees. So it's really just one town employee. Were you both able to get, all three of you able to get the any other packet information on this?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So it is, it's one of those mixed emotion things when someone retires. You want to say thank you for all of the years of service, but you know that there's reasons for why they want to move on. And I think if you have in front of you the pension calculations, the information that Assistant Town Clerk Kathy Fitch is looking to retire as of July 1. And I think if you looked at the information you have in front of you, that the pension calculations that are listed there, she was looking to go for a monthly pension of $806.98. So, with that, entertain a motion to accept the retirement Kathy Fitch with a pension calculation payout for monthly of $806.98.
So moved.
Motion made, second? And a second? Thank you. Any other discussion on this?
I just wanted to say, yes, it is sad when I see she's been working almost 19 years for the town. It's sad to see someone like that go.
Yep. That's a lot of experience and I think a very, very good person to help in the town clerk's office, which I guess we'll move on from that and we'll go to the next step. And it's very difficult to replace somebody with that experience and that level of knowledge. So we wish her well. So we have a motion and we have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstain, and we move forward. With that, we can make a motion to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 And we are now at 6:49. Thank you very much for the members of the pension board. We're going to go on to the Selectmen's meeting in about 11 minutes. So if anybody wants to join us there, you can do so. And thank you very much. Have a good night. All right, the time is now 7 p.m. So the Board of Selectmen meeting for June 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. is now in order. I'd like to ask that you rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. So here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we called order, Pledge of Allegiance. Item B, roll call.
Okay.
Kevin Cunningham. I do not see Kathy on. All right. Item C, which is the approve of the minutes from May 26, 2020, if you've had a chance to read through those minutes.
Yep, I'll make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes, May 26th meeting.
And I will second that. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item D, which is public comment. Do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak? Okay, hearing none. Item E has new business. New business number 1 is consider an act on submission on an RFP to accept engineering bids for specifications needed to update the jail cells of the Plainfield Police Department. This has been an ongoing issue, and I'd like to actually, at this point, turn this over to whether it be Mike or Mario to speak on these items, because they live with it every day. So I think it's important for them to at least explain what's going on. I know the Board of Finance has had a tour of the facility, and they do understand some of the issues. So, Mike, if you wouldn't mind.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, as you've already stated, I gave the Board of Finance a tour of the police department a few months ago and just showed them a few issues that we have, that we're having with the cells. The captain, Mario Arriaga, is heading up this project of cells and cell replacements because of the safety that we are occurring with our cells. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to let the captain say a few things because he's spearheading this part of the project.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. As many of you are already aware, the holding cells at the Plainfield Police Department are in dire need of replacement. The cells are dated all the way back to the late 1950s to early 60s, and they originated actually from the Willimantic Police Department, and they were hand-me-down back in the late 80s when the Plainfield Police Department building was constructed. The manufacturer of our current cells, the cells that I just discussed, strictly states that the cells should not be used to house prisoners, but rather for blocking areas and, let's say, like hallways. They're used for like a gate for securement. They're not designed to be housing prisoners or holding those that have been arrested. Our cells do not meet appropriate standards, such as suicide resistant doors, the beds, the toilets, the proper airflow, as well as safety standards. In fact, we had multiple people break out of our cells, and unfortunately many people have tried to hang themselves inside our cells. Our officers happen to be at the right place at the right time, and thankfully it have prevented death from occurring inside our cells. Obviously, this is not something that we want to take lightly. This is a very large project, and it's going to be well out of our expertise for the chief and I just to handle and know exactly what we need to do to make sure that we are meeting the proper specs regarding the cell replacement. As a result, the chief and I are asking the Board of Selectmen to waive the procurement policy as it relates to professional services and accept the proposal of Jakunski Humes Architects out of Berlin, Connecticut in the amount of $12,000. And just so I don't pronounce the name wrong, I'm just going to say JHA. JHA will oversee the project from start to finish, including the bidding process for the construction of the cells. There will still be a competitive bid process for the construction of the cells. So kind of just to clarify it a little bit, we're asking the Board of Selectmen to waive the procurement policy as it relates to the professional service of JHA, architectural firm. So you may want to ask, like, why JHA? Well, JHA is a state of Connecticut company that actually specializes in public safety. This includes designing law enforcement and public safety buildings across New England. JHA has a national reputation in the field of public safety facilities planning and design, and has completed more work than any other architectural firm in New England. They have been in business for over 25 years and have recently designed and overseen Orange Police Department's holding cell renovations, Trumbull Police Department's holding cell renovations, and the Berlin Police Department's holding cell renovation. They are also working with the Norwich Police Department to build and construct a new station to also include their holding cells as well. As you may or may not know, Norwich Police Department is part of the Law Enforcement Council, in which we belong to. JHA has designed over 90 public safety buildings and cell blocks. This includes Danbury PD, Cromwell PD, Old Saybrook PD. The list really goes on and on. They truly know what they're doing, and this is a company that we do want to work with because, again, the chief and I, this is way above our expertise on what is exactly needed, and we believe this firm is going to get us in the right direction.
Thank you very much. I would ask that, Art, you and I are going to be the ones asking questions at this point, so let's start with some of the ballpark numbers. You said, Captain, you said that the numbers that we're looking at here are 12,000?
That is correct.
Okay. Trying to look back and find out any other company that would do engineering for police departments for their holding or cells, but you're probably hard pressed. And
Right.
I think that would be a fair statement because this company really does it all.
Correct.
It's also a tough thing because when you look back and say, well, are you constructing or renovating? You don't have a lot of these situations come up a lot. So the ones you did find probably are dating back a few years on top of that.
That is correct. Well, the most recent one that they just did was actually Berlin Police Department, and they had similar holding cells, similar to ours that have the bars, etc. Basically, the door fronts would be replaced with like a Lexan glass that's not breakable, and obviously for the safety, it prevents. I shouldn't say prevents. It is suicide resistant, so it helps. So that way, nothing happens of that nature.
All right. So for the engineering of this, the suicide prevention doors, there could be an issue where for ventilation, you need to be able to do a tie-in to what you currently have right now to help the ventilation process?
That is correct. So we do have a ventilation system currently that is malfunctioning, that doesn't move the air. You have to have proper airflow in these cells. As of right now, we do not have that.
Okay. Art, do you have any questions?
The only question that came to mind was after, okay, we waived the procurement policy for the engineer. The engineer is going to bring the actual work to bid. Is that bid process coming before the Board of Selectmen still?
Well, that's probably what you're looking at in step 2. The idea here is that the engineers have to get the specs out and ready to go. Prevailing wage also has to be included in the workout dates. And that process has to occur. So it puts us out probably to about the 23rd. If we do things simultaneously, we can actually make this all happen with the bid actually going forward with the help of the JHA engineering. So the idea is that we need to process this in a fairly decent manner so we can get the whole thing done. If we waive the RFP for the engineering bid and utilize the procurement policy bypass, we can actually start on this right away. So tomorrow we can actually work with JHA, get things rolling.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yep, and then the second step of tonight's second step of tonight's meeting is consider an act on submission of a bidding process to accept those bids from the contractors for the upgrades. And is similar items that we have concerns with for the engineering, because there's very few of them. You're probably going to find very few companies that would come forward for bidding on this type of a upgrade. But it's the proper thing to do at that point. You're going to be able to go out there and bid, allow the bid to occur, and be able to go to the next step. I think the other questions we should have really at this time would be the whole cost. And I think it's fair to at least discuss that right now before we even talk about a bypass of procurement, because we need to know what numbers we're looking at. Here we've already talked about 12,000, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we're also probably looking at well over $100,000 for the whole project, probably closer to like 150, maybe even 160.
That's correct. Looking at this blind, we're anticipating the bids to come in about 150 to 160. I spoke with you this morning, Kevin, and I did analysis of our budget, of what we are going to probably have left over and return to the town of Plainfield. I'm anticipating on the light side of about $100,000 that we are anticipating to turning back into the Board of Finance when the books close June 31st.
Right. So that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to ask members of the Board of Finance if they'd like to join in on this meeting, because you should want to hear what the numbers we're looking at and see what's available for funding. It's something that it just needs to be done. You're putting the safety of all employees up at the station. We've already had some issues. I'll be polite by saying that there was a few issues in the past. We want to continue on doing the right thing here. I would say that I'm not sure, Kelly, if you're able to get on right now, but I know we have a few $1,000s left on the town budget. I don't want to cut it too tight. I know there are boards and commissions numbers there that we might be able to utilize that we haven't asked and requested in line item transfers at this point. So we could use a few $1,000s there. But really, we'd like to invite the chairperson to make comment at this point. But I would actually ask at this point to consider a motion later on by the Board of Finance to utilize monies for unanticipated numbers, setting it at a certain level to say, okay, we can probably say, $50,000 or $60,000 that might be available for taking from the general fund based on the needs after the bids are processed. So I know you're talking on the 17th, Tom, and it might be a good discussion item then, but I really want to get your input in this. I think it's a good working relationship, so we all are out in the front here knowing exactly what's happening. I know the numbers are a little higher than we initially thought, but we need to do the right things and put the right thing forward. So first blush, Tom, what do you think?
Well, you certainly asked the good question of what's the total going to come to, and we got at least in the area of 150 or 160. So what I'm willing to do is I'm willing to hold off on having the meeting till the very end of the month. And I've already tentatively discussed this with some of the members. This would be a special meeting where we can have the concrete numbers, knowing of, we can do the line item transfer, when it comes to around 100,000. But we would be able to say at that point later on in June that you need 60. And so, with having a firmer number like that, let's just say 60 is the example, I would be comfortable with going into a special meeting proposing that we approve 60,000 from the fund balance and getting discussion and input from the other members as far as if they would approve 60,000 from the fund balance to cover the remainder. Now, as you said, Kevin, that's subject to change because we may be able to find a couple grand still somewhere in the budget. So between now and towards the end of the month, I definitely would want to talk to you about, and Kelly, where else we could try to find that to try to shorten it up as much as possible. So if we could bring it from 60 down to 50, every little bit helps. And if we could just propose 50,000 from the fund balance instead of 60, that I think would appeal more to the Board of Finance, because as we know, we've had to take from the fund balance quite a bit for other items in other departments. So we want to try to bring it down as low as possible, but understanding, like you said, this needs to get done, no question. And in talking to the members after the tour at the department, there's no objections there. It needs to get done. We need to figure out how we're going to pay for it and get it done.
Okay, thank you for that.
And
So,
just on a side note, Kevin, in 14 years of my position here in the chief or the deputy chief, we've only gone to the Board of Finance one time, and that was for a $10,000 appropriation, and we've never overrun our budget. So just kind of show a little good faith there. It's not something that we take lightly or we go to the Board of Finance and ask for.
And that's very much appreciated. So that's kind of why we have everybody here in the room, so to speak, is to see if we can get some understanding of what we're up against and some cooperation. And I think so far, I think that's an appropriate way to handle it. So I think looking at the big picture here, I'd like to make a motion to bypass the procurement policy for professional services and award the bid to JHA Engineering for the specifications of the update to the jail cells.
You're making that motion, Kevin?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any other discussion at this time?
I did have one thing to say.
Yep.
Keep in mind as if it's 50,000 or more from the Board of Finance, I believe we have to go to town meeting, right?
Yes.
For excess monies, yes.
If it's over 50,000.
Right.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to go through our leftover budget to see every single penny that we can actually allocate towards it.
Right.
That would just hold it up if we had to go to a town meeting, so
Yep.
just to keep it under 50 if you can.
That's why I'm trying to scramble for money.
Yeah.
All right, with that said, we have a motion, you seconded.
Mm-hmm.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now on to item number 2, which is tied into it. Consider an act on submission of a bidding process to accept bids from contractors for the work for the upgrades to the new jail cells at the Plainfield Police Department. So you've heard the background to it, and what we're going to do is immediately tomorrow work on working with the JHA to see if we can work on getting those specs out for a bid. The quicker we can do that, because it's going to be over 100,000, really ties into prevailing wage. We want to make sure we're doing it the right way. It takes 10 days for prevailing wage to process for bidding. We're actually calculating towards the 23rd, maybe the 24th at the latest, that we can actually have this back in. That would give us an opportunity then to sit down with the Board of Finance to say, here's your numbers. And what we can look at that time and how we'd be able to allocate through our searches through the Board of Selectmen's budget and what we have left over, and tying that in with what the police department may have left over. If we're fortunate enough, we can move forward and be able to have this all wrapped up. So, do you have any other items you wanted to discuss on this one, Art, or any questions?
No, I'm kind of wondering what you're looking for here, though.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion at this time to submit a bid process to accept bids on the contracts for the work and upgrades to the new jail cells at the Plainfield Police Department.
And this is going to be done through JHA.
Yes,
Okay, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Any other discussion at this time? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Oh,
Well, I'm sorry, just so you are aware, JHA is also involved in another project, in town for a public safety building. That has been going along smoothly, so they do have a little bit of a in track record, with the town.
okay, thank you. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We do not have any other correspondence except for the next item up here. I did have. I'm still searching for somebody who could work for the. It's an ad hoc position. It is on the Eastern Regional Tourism District Board. So if anybody's looking for more information on that, you can contact the town hall and I can help you out with that. I just got that information, so I want to share that with you. And the only other thing that we need to do, I'm going to ask to entertain a motion to add on item number, is it 3? Item number 3 onto the agenda. Item number 3 to add onto the agenda is only to appoint a municipal agent for the elderly for the town of Plainfield.
I'll make a motion to add item 3 to the agenda.
I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just so you know, this is something that doesn't have to be sworn in. All it is an appointment, and it's just basically the paperwork has to be put forward. I'm going to make the recommendation that we put Kelly Lynn Skaplin as that municipal agent, and I would entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion that we make Kelly Scalpin agent on aging.
And I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. I think that was the end of our correspondence, so we can process that one. And with that, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And I will second. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
You gonna vote on? Hey, yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna vote on that? All in favor?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
You want to actually adjourn, huh? Okay, thank you.
Way to go, Art.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes over at the Water Pollution Control Authority, anybody that wants to follow us over there. And gentlemen, thank you very much for the information for the jail cells, and thank you, Tom, for listening, and we'll see what the next step is.
Thank you, First Selectman.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start the meeting. This is Town of Plainfield Water Pollution Control Authority special meeting, the June 8th version, and I would call the meeting to order at this time. We'll do a roll call.
All right, Gagny.
And Kevin Cunningham. And I don't see Kathy here, so we'll move on. We're going to look at the minutes from May 26, 2020.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from May 26th.
And I will second that. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, item number D, which is, item letter D, which is public comment. Is anybody here from the public that wishes to speak? If not, we'll go right into new business. Consider an act on a sewer assessment fee for 16 Main Street. You will see in your packet, there was a request from a resident about a water pollution control authority sewer hookup fee. And that was from Ben and Kelly, who are on with us right now. And we wanted to talk briefly about the process by which this goes forward and what the whole idea of it is. I wanted to introduce the verdicts first, just to say that thank you very much for coming on. We wanted to hear from you as to what your concern was for the assessment, and then we can go through what we have for other issues, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you hearing from us. When I first started the process of getting the building permits, Becky did inform us that there'd be a fee for the hookup, which I kind of ignored because we were already hooked up. So I guess that's where I was uninformed.
Okay.
So now but I am okay. I know there's a separate usage fee, which we're okay with that, paying for the upstairs and the downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And the increased, the tax assessor's coming out on Tuesday to, I would assume, raise our taxes. And
We try not to, honestly, we try not to.
it's fine. But I just didn't understand the hookup fee when we were already hooked up.
Understood.
That's really, and I mean, it's not $300, it's $3,000.
Right. So there is a, if I can find my file here, just bear with me. All right, so what I'm going to do is on Zoom, I'm going to do a quick share screen, if I can find the darn thing. Bear with me one more time. Sewer tie-in fees, get rid of that one. Get rid of the calendar. I got so many things open right now, I apologize. I got all sorts of meetings that are still open. We can get rid of all of that, and then we can go back one more time. Oops. Nope. Nope. There we go, that says policy, perfect. And I'll do a share screen if I can get to it now. I think this is it. Yes. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, it should be in the middle of the screen. This is an assessment of connection and charges policy. I guess this has been in place for a while. Becky would know a little more than I because she's been here a lot longer than I. But they talk about how the funding sources happen, and then they talk about, in section 4, the actual assessment. So it's based on the hookup and how much it really is. So this one in particular, Becky, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has the 500 for a residential and to tie into the existing. That's why it's 3,000, so it's 500 for one, 25 for the other?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what is part of,
I don't understand that. What was it?
I'm sorry, on section A, it says on the top.
Yep, the 500, got
Yep.
that.
Yep, and then the second part of it is an existing sewer construction one 10 years ago, there shall be connection fee as of for the per unit. And I can send you a copy of this file as well to show more detail, but this is related to the assessment ordinance. And that's why there's a hookup fee for a separate item.
So the thing is because it's more than 10 years old.
Becky, did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, so if it was under 10 years old, we wouldn't have this.
No, it really depends on the situation. Sometimes, hold on, I can't read the screen very well. Let me read mine. Yeah, because like a new sewer, if it's like a project, it's based on the fees based on a ratio of the assessment of the property. That's like if it's a big project. But this is an existing sewer that was constructed more than 10 years ago. So,
When was it installed?
I want to say the 1970s. Hold on, I have the paper.
And yours wasn't part of that newer system that went in, that when you changed over to all the septics, right? It wasn't,
No, it was in 1973 they were hooked up.
okay.
Becky,
Yeah?
may I ask you about section B, the new sewers?
Yeah.
Is it possible that those could cost even more than $2,500?
Yeah. Yeah.
Less than 10 years?
Like the Moosup Pond Sewer Project, that was a ratio based on their assessed value. And some of them, within the first 10-year period, cost anywhere from $3,000 or $4,000 all the way up to $17,000. And it was based on their house and their property value.
And these were already people that were already hooked up?
No.
That's my thing, it's just that it's already hooked up. I mean, you guys didn't even hit a button, turn a valve, nothing, and it's gonna be $3,000.
Right. An example I have for that is, I explained to you when I talked to you on the phone, the Broders building in Plainfield. So they had paid maybe 2 or 3 assessments depending on when the sewers went in. So a few years ago, when the 6 new apartments were put in, they had to pay $3,000 per apartment, and then they put in 1 or 2 new businesses. So that's a commercial property, so that's a different fee, but that was either $3,500, I think, because it was a commercial fee. So even though theirs was existing, it's the same type of situation you're in. So even though they had originally paid for either 2 or 3 assessments, all the new things that they put in, they still had to pay the additional $3,000 or $3,500, depending on if it was a business or an apartment.
Is this for a new accessory apartment?
Yes.
Okay, so you're hooking up another apartment.
Well, there was 1 toilet in the whole place, and now there's 2 toilets and a sink and a shower.
So for sewer wise, the commercial business, it doesn't matter if there's 1 toilet or 10 toilets, that would be 1 use. And then their apartment is another use. And you could have 1 or 10 toilets up there, and they're each considered 1 use apiece. It doesn't go based on how many toilets or how many showers.
I get that. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that, but I just mean,
I just think it's worded incorrectly. If it's a sewer hookup fee, like, it was misleading is what, we were under the impression we didn't have to pay it because it was already hooked up.
No, I made sure in the beginning when this process started that you guys knew, so it wasn't a big sticker shock at the end when you were trying to go get your CO.
well, I thought when you said that it was a hookup fee, then because I was already hooked up, I really didn't even really pay any attention, to be honest with you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I made sure And I know that I talked to the building inspector about it to make sure you knew that it was a $3,000 fee because you need to prepare for that.
Right, but it's a hookup. If we didn't get hooked, I just, I'm
It's a
sorry
connection
for getting
fee.
frustrated, but we did not get hooked up. It was, you didn't dig a shovel, didn't turn a switch, didn't turn a valve, turned nothing. And
Right.
it's the highest tax or fee that I've paid in this town in 20 years.
Yeah, it's the connection fee. It's
It was already connected.
but it's a new connection. It's a whole separate thing. That's what it is.
Well, I like to be able to get it, so you're looking for your CO, and you need the CO, in order to get the CO, you gotta do the connection fee, the assessment fee. What I'd like to know is, you're looking to get some occupancy in there right away, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I would offer something in this regards to be able to make it so it's CO available right away, but still be able to take in the connection hookup fee. Would it be possible so we could work something out where it's a monthly payment, and that way you can still be able to get CO right away?
Sure, I mean, it's almost not even the money, to be honest with you. It's just, I just, that $3,000 is hard to swallow when I just don't think anything was done. I mean, that's why I'm kind of appealing it. It's not, I just don't, I mean, I don't think it was fair for that Broders, I mean, or whoever else. You know, I mean, it's not a new, I mean, there was nothing done.
Well, I mean, the example of Broders is a pretty good one, and it shows you the
Oh,
volume that was
yeah,
coming
I
in
mean,
the line.
But I mean, I just, if I was the people that own Broders, I mean, that's tough as well. Whatever you guys want to do, I guess it's, we lost this appeal, or it is what it is. I don't think it's fair. You can put that on the record. I just think it's,
Okay.
I think it's really unfair. Not for me and for people down the road. I don't think it's a fair tax or whatever, a turn-on fee or whatever you want to call it. It's not a hookup fee because nothing was hooked up. So you should really change the name of it, because it's not a connection fee, because nothing was connected.
But what it means is connecting to the town sewer.
It was already connected.
You know what I'm saying? You're connecting
I
a whole
do.
new apartment to the town sewer. That's what
I'm saying. I am totally okay with paying the usage fee for the upstairs, which is gonna be $400 a year, and the downstairs are $400 a year. I'm fine with that. I have no problem at all. I just have a problem with a connection fee. That's what it's called here. So I guess I'll be down to pay it.
Well, we'd be able to make up an opportunity with discussing payments instead of the full amount, that way to help you out a little bit?
No, I mean, I have the money. It's not, that's not the point.
Yeah, the
It's really, it's the principle that, I mean, I don't want to spend the money, but it's not, you did nothing. The town did absolutely nothing, and they're getting $3,000 for doing not even a thing.
Well, I'd like to be able to work on the actual wording of the document, because as you said, if you can understand the way it was worded, it makes it a little easier to understand why the connection is an additional connection.
I don't even understand why it should be an additional connection, because it was not an additional connection. It's the same pipe that's going out of the building.
But with more volume.
Right, and I'm paying double the volume fee.
Well,
So I'm paying the usage fee for upstairs and downstairs, so I'm assuming that usage fee would handle the more volume going through the pipe. I just don't think the 3,000, and I said that in the meeting, that I don't have a problem with that at all. Even going up the $100, I know it's $290 now, it's going up to $400. That's fine per unit. I agree with that, but I don't agree with the $3,000.
Okay.
But I guess we have to pay it. There's nothing really we can do, even though I think it's a complete ripoff. The biggest ripoff I've ever had in this town. In 21 years. There's nothing even close.
So Art, do you have anything else to add into this?
No, other than we should really look at it, because, I mean, as far as this is concerned, it says per unit. So if you're adding a unit, there's a fee.
Right, there was no square footage added to the building. There was nothing added. I mean, we finished off an area within the building. And yeah, we are living in it, and we got a special permit for that. But we didn't add to the outside of the building. We only fixed it up.
Is this a commercial building?
It's a commercial building that we got a special permit for I don't know what you want to call it, an apartment.
Accessory apartment?
Yes. That my wife and I are living in. But nothing, the only thing that's gonna be that it's technically a temporary CO, because I still have to put the deck on the back, which I don't have the money for, and this will definitely, I don't have the money for now.
It's part of the reason why I was gonna offer to make payments. It might make it a little easier.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it just is what it is, I guess. I just don't agree with it at all, and that's what it is. But it's
What was in the space before?
an attic. It was Martel Woodworking,
Oh, yeah, I know it, yeah, up the street.
and we've done a tremendous amount of work to it, and we're gonna reopen the business. We're in the process of buying a little bit more land to add on, and, you know, we wanna be part of the Central Village, but it's not, I just don't agree with this. I'm not even calling it a hookup fee, because we didn't get hooked up. I'll pay the 3,000, but I'm not calling it a hookup fee,
Connection fee.
because it was already connected.
You're still reading through that, Art?
Yeah, explain assessment of benefits to me. What do they mean by assessment of benefits?
Variable fee based on the ratio of the assessed property value in relationship to the assessed property values of the participating properties, multiplied by an agreed upon pre-construction total cost to the developer investor. So when you're building a new project and you're actually doing an assessment on the new project, Becky?
Yeah, it's that's for privately constructed sewers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, because I'm reading the assessment of benefits shall be the sum of A and B, or A and C, or A and D. We're going by A and C, obviously. There's existing sewer. But that's for the assessment of benefits. Okay. Just trying to make sense of this. So. The only thing that gets me is because it says per unit on every one.
Becky, do you have any other examples other than Broders that might be somewhat helpful?
Just any house that puts an accessory apartment on that's on sewer.
What did Sawyer Sheds do? They put 2 or 3 accessory apartments. They would have had to pay the charge, right? Or, yeah.
Well, it depends, because I would have to look and see what they originally paid for their, how many assessments they paid for, because there was multiple businesses in there.
Does that Sawyer even own that building, or is he just rents, doesn't he?
He rents.
You know, he rents.
But they did put accessory apartments in there, so they would get charged the fee, right?
If there were no other hookups in there prior to that, no other, well, based on the business, like Becky was saying, how many businesses were in there before, what was
Right. But like,
listed as?
if, like, just say my house. Say I put an accessory apartment on my house, I would have to pay a $3,000 fee to hook up to the town sewer, even if it connected into the same pipe.
What if you just put an accessory, what if you added an accessory within your house and you didn't do anything? It's basically adding a bathroom.
Because your accessory apartment has a kitchen, it's a whole nother unit.
Right, but
Like if I just added a bedroom onto my house, that doesn't really count.
like if you had a bedroom in your house and you converted into, an in-law suite for your mom that had a kitchen and a bathroom, but it was still within your house because you didn't use the room, I mean, you're gonna have to pay a $3,000 fee?
Yes, because it's a second unit defined by that ordinance. There was a guy in town who had a raised ranch, and he converted the lower level into an accessory apartment, same building, but he had to pay a fee because of that ordinance.
I just think I've done everything above board, and Sawyer, I think, would be not a good example.
No, I guess not. I don't know anybody in your situation.
I mean,
This is a one-time fee.
I guess, yeah, it's a one-time fee. But I just think it's a steep one-time fee for, I mean, there was no digging, no hook, nothing. I mean, the plumber put in a piece of pipe and that was it.
Becky, on page 3 of that document, section 7, special considerations, is there anything in there that allows us to make a special consideration for that assessment?
Let me see, that's properly vacant land.
I don't want to put them into A, that's not appropriate.
No. B is no. No,
I don't think there are.
no, there isn't. Mm-mm.
Guess I gotta start selling wooden sheds.
Just so you know what we were talking about, I was just asking, there's a section 7, talks about special considerations. I was trying to find something in there that would apply.
I'm pretty old.
Well, it doesn't say the age in there, does it?
No, I feel like I'm aging during this meeting too, so it's,
Our dilemma is this, and I'll be very frank about it. The dilemma is you'd like to get it CO right away.
I mean,
And the other thing is, I'd like to be able to look to see if there's anything I can do.
yeah, I appreciate your help. I appreciate everyone's time. I mean, I wouldn't make a stink of it. I just don't think it's fair.
Yep. See, there's a section 8 there that says schedule of payments, and that's what I was going to offer, is saying, is there something we can do to help out in that regards? But I do want, there was something in the, bear with me one second here. So it says under X section A, and I don't want to put you in this category, believe me, but I just want to look at it. I want to take a look at 12-129B and 12-170AA for the Connecticut statutes. See what that actually entails, and that would be at least a way for me to get back to you on that. Would you mind if I at least table this until our next regular meeting, which is 2 weeks from now? And then that way I can at least give you an answer? by then?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine. I mean, the assessor lady's coming on tomorrow.
Yep,
And then as soon as I get the CO, I have to change my insurance around. So I mean, that's really,
got it.
you know,
I can look at this information pretty much tonight and get back to you, so tomorrow morning you can get an idea what we're up against. Because I'm not sure if those will do anything for us.
what's that section C, like?
Warehouses,
Facility
one?
that.
that one?
Yeah,
Okay. We can read through it together. Where warehouses, garages, storage facilities are built upon a land which sewage facility, you don't have a sewage facility, are available where such structures are not used for human occupancy, which this one is.
but it wasn't at one point.
No.
Right, but now it is. That's why that changes right there. That one wouldn't help. D is uninhabitable. No, you want to inhabit it. And E is the exception for low-income persons.
No,
And you're not in a HUD category.
No, almost.
no.
I'm trying. I am.
I just, like I said, it's not really so much it's the money, but it's just the principle that I just don't think it's a fair tax. I don't care about all the school increased taxes, all that I've been on board with.
Mm-hmm.
All when my kids were going to school here, I just don't feel that this is a fair tax, or whatever you want to call it. I mean,
All right. Let me see if I can get to this right tonight and see if I can look at those items under section 12, 129 and section 12, 170.
I appreciate it. I mean, whatever you guys can do, I appreciate your time, but I just have a hard time with this one.
I understand very much. Maybe if we can reword some of that section in that particular ordinance, so it gives more understanding and meaning to it, it might help a little bit for the next person.
And where does where does $3,000 come from? I don't know where that
Oh.
fee is.
We talked about that at the beginning right here.
I mean, where does the 2,500 come from? Where is that? How was that determined?
So the first one, the 500, is a one-time lot fee. The second one, which is here, is what they call the existing sewer connection fee.
Right.
So that's where that comes from. And that was I don't know how old this ordinance is. It was established a long time ago.
I think that was 2002 or 2004. It was changed.
Okay. Every year, not that it's going to help you directly here, but every year, according to the town charter, the board of selectmen is supposed to go through all of the ordinances, look at them to see if anything can be changed that it needs to be updated. I think this is definitely one of them we can talk about.
I just think it's excessive.
Understood.
If you were doing it the other way around, already had the accessory apartment and wanted to go commercial, it would actually cost you 500 more,
Right.
unless you have grease traps.
Right. No, it's, a garden. No, there's no grease traps.
Yep. Well, I don't think we need to take any action on this at this point. And you said you were willing to pay for the thing. I'm willing to do a payment plan if you would consider it. But in the meantime, that might be something applicable.
How long do they stretch the payment plan for?
How long would you like it?
I mean,
10 months, a year? Is that why you're paying $300 a month?
sure.
Okay, well, why don't you and I talk about a quick motion to, we want to act on be able to take the fees in a monthly payment plan of $300 for a 10-month period. Draft a motion to that effect.
Do you want to be specific about having a due date? Like when it's due?
What's appropriate for you? Is it easier for your bills at the beginning of the month, end of the month, middle of the month, whatever you want?
It doesn't matter to me, just if to have a specific due date would be good, so everybody's on the same page.
That's why I was asking the verdicts. What's
Yeah.
best for you?
How about the 15th of every month?
All right.
You gotta pay the mortgage on the 1st, so.
That's why I asked the question, because I have the same issue. Everything either comes at the beginning or the end.
So we make our first payment. Like, soon.
So it would be ending on March 15th?
Well,
They've
it all
already-
depends when you get your CO too, you know what I mean?
I'll come down and give the first payment if that will help get the CO.
Yep, we can draft something to that effect for the payment plan. We'll actually have it written up for you.
I know the assessor's coming down, like she's coming tomorrow because she had that fire at her house, so she's coming tomorrow.
Yep.
So I guess after that, I think that's all that I have left to do. I've already been approved by the building for all this.
Inspector? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So the motion would be to accept a payment plan for 16 Main Street, Central Village for a 10-month period at $300 each month due on the 15th for the existing fees.
And I'll pay the first one even before the 15th, if that.
And in doing so, Mark, we'd also have to draft it so it includes the CO would be available immediately, so upon first payment.
I'll make a motion that we accept payment from Mr. and Mrs. Burdick, $300 a month for 10 months. And it'll be on the 15th of each month. It should end March 15th, 2021.
And I would add in that the address would be 16 Main Street.
16, yeah, for property on 16 Main Street, Central Village.
Is there a penalty for if we pay it off sooner?
I would second the motion. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I appreciate your hanging in there with us, and we'll see what we can do about getting you, you'll have the inspections done, the assessors tomorrow or sometime this week?
Tomorrow
Okay,
morning.
good.
She's coming.
All right, and I'm gonna look into that other issue as well, because I'd like to know how we can modify this particular ordinance so it's more meaningful and understood,
Thank you.
okay? Appreciate your time. With nothing else on the agenda, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Don't move.
And I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, and everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.